All the talk leading up to this game was Dillon Brooks' revenge game. Then it was Josh Okogie revenge game. At the end of the day, it was the Aaron Holiday revenge game.
It is a holiday week.
Psychos and sickos unite for a blasted edition of the PHNX Suns postgame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, place a bet for 5, get $150 in bonus bets. As the Phoenix Suns, I guess they have to lose some games. Espo, they've lost their third game.
You told me they weren't going to.
I never said that.
Oh my gosh.
They lost their third game out of their last 13, ending a good little stretch there from the Suns, 114-92, outmatched by the also injured Houston Rockets without Kevin Durant, Tari Eason, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Fred VanVleet. They still outplayed the Suns. There were some positives that we'll get into, Espo, but there were a whole lot of negatives. But thank you all for joining us. I'm Eric. That's, of course, Espo, if I said a couple times. No Freckle Mamba behind the Mac. He is recovering a little bit. But we do have the Deli Man, a.k.a. Shane Beef, a.k.a. the OG PHNX Suns producers. And we appreciate all the OGs and newbies and everybody in between in the chat helping us out here on a Monday night, get through what was an unfortunate loss. But Espo, if I asked you what was the number one reason why the Suns lost this game to the Rockets, you would say
turnovers and lack of ball movement.
You
cannot have the poor ball movement that they did and only have 11 assists and have 20 turnovers in a game. You thought they had figured out how to kind of cut down on that turnover problem. Only had 6 yesterday, 20 tonight. You're just not going to win like that. You're just not going to win like that against a good team.
I think there are a lot of things from a team perspective that we need to dive into over the next hour and change. I think we have to have a conversation about Devin Booker. And I think it has to be the first thing that we talk about. Because as somebody who has sat here and has told you and will continue to tell you how much he believes in Devin Booker as a player, this is now the third game in a row where Book had, let's be honest, a pretty brutal game. And I think we just need to have this conversation about, is this supposed to be worrying? Is this just a product of not having talent around him? But at the end of the day, Devin Booker's stat line tonight, another disappointing one. In just 38 minutes, he puts up 18 points, shoots 5 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6 from deep, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, but more turnovers and assists with 6 of them, Espo. What's going on with Devin Booker?
He's playing like crap. I mean, coming into this game, the previous 2 games, he was 11 of 36. He was shooting 30% and was not a great performance tonight either. I don't know if there's anything particular that is going on. There's nothing that you can see. We don't know of any injury. There's nothing obvious, but again, a well sub 50% shooting night, only 2 of 6 from deep, missed 2 free throws, had those 6 turnovers, which was more than the 5 assists he had. And I'm not going to say it's because of talent around him, because we've seen Devin Booker play significantly better with significantly less talent around him.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, over the last 3 games. I don't particularly know why he is in this, but he needs to find a way out of this funk and do it quick, because this team can find ways to win when he's not playing well, but they can't sustain winning for a long period of time without him playing well. You can do it for a game or 2. You can have guys step up and fill that in. But in a night like tonight, you needed Devin Booker to be the man, not just a man out there.
Yeah, you did. And look, I think there's a couple of things at play here. B's in the chat saying it's just a slump, acting like Book hasn't had slumps before and for longer at that.
I
do agree. He's had, I would say that this might be in that game a couple of games ago was probably the worst I've seen him play in the last couple of years. Maybe 1 or 2 games last season when both Katie and Beal were out, like specifically that OKC game that was really tough. Obviously, you're playing OKC. I think that is certainly a part of it. Players go through slumps, and Devin Booker had a really good start to the season, which isn't normal for Devin Booker. He usually takes some time to build up. I think number 2, you look at some of the teams that he's playing and the defensive coverages that he's been playing. Obviously, Minnesota really gave him some problems and some fits. Defensively, he ends up also fouling out of that game. And tonight, Amen Thompson is one of the best defenders in the league. Ime Udoka is one of the best defensive-minded head coaches in the league. And Houston has been really, really good on that end of the floor. Plus, they slow it down. I think that's true as well. But then there's this third thing. And as somebody who is a staunch Devin Booker defender and a staunch Devin Booker fan, it's an unfortunate pattern for him where there have been now multiple times over the last couple of seasons where the Suns have needed him to step up and to go off, and he is either not shot well or not shot enough to deliver that. And I think what's really frustrating about this slump, Espo, is that usually when these shots haven't been falling for Book, he digs into his playmaking bag. And while he did have 10 assists a couple of games ago, it was paired with 9 turnovers. Tonight, 6 turnovers to 5 assists. That is not a sustainable way for Devin Booker to play basketball. And if we're going to give him a lot of deserving praise for the way that he's balancing the passing and the scoring when things are going well, he needs to do a better job of finding ways to get something going when a defense is presenting him with tough coverages.
Yeah, over the last 3 games, he has 17 turnovers, a total of 17 turnovers. It's not sustainable. You're right. When he's not finding his rhythm, he needs to be getting his teammates involved. Tonight was a night where he wasn't doing either, and he struggled with that lately. And yeah, some of it's defense. Some of it's the fact that a guy like Grayson Allen isn't out there who was not only hitting shots when Book was finding him, but also taking some of the pressure off of him in terms of ball movement and starting and initiating the offense. You've seen Book have to initiate it more as these injuries have piled up, and that's not where this offense is going to be at its best. It's when somebody else can initiate it. Devin can be the main driver of the offense, but doesn't have to be the one that gets them into every set along the way. And that's where they've been the last few games, is he's had to do that. So then that becomes problematic as well. Some of it is teammates aren't, when he's getting trapped, aren't coming to him fast enough to help him get the ball away in an effective way.
Yeah, that is definitely a big part of it.
There's so many layers to it, but the bottom line is you're the number one guy. You got to find a way. He hasn't, and he'd probably be the first to tell you that he hasn't found that over the last 3 games and that he needs to step it up. And you hope a game like against Sacramento is a get-good game, right?
Sure.
Is a game where you can kind of just, since you will be more talented, even if only a couple of guys come back, hopefully that's where Devin can get right by hitting a few more shots.
Yeah, I think, look, if you're talking about a team that just adds Grayson Allen to the mix, we saw how much having Grayson Allen helped Devin Booker. I don't think that it's a coincidence that Devin Booker's slight downtick, and now in the last couple of games, pretty extreme downtick, has also come as Grayson Allen misses his 5th straight game tonight. Grayson Allen was playing like the second best offensive option on this team that has seen Dillon Brooks take that role, but was also just creating so much space for Book to operate in, and was a very smart basketball player and a lot better with off-ball movement than a guy like Dillon Brooks, who gets in his bag when he has the ball in his hands, not as much off of screens and off of movement, which is what's going to help Devin Booker out on double teams. Also, Ryan Dunn being out. I know people think, Ryan Dunn, not a spacer. How does that help? Ryan Dunn's very situationally aware and great at finding lanes to cut in. When we're talking about players moving to the ball and moving to a place that Devin Booker can pass to, Ryan Dunn helps with that. Obviously, we know how Jalen Green can help with that as well. But at the end of the day, Espo, that can be true. And also, Devin Booker has to be better. Look, Devin Booker started off this game 10 points in the first quarter, hitting deep threes, getting to the line, hitting a tough mid-range shot over Aaron Holiday, who had himself a game tonight. And then he just stopped. And Ayrton in the chat, the Freckle Mamba, said he looks like he just has the basketball yips. It just doesn't look the same. It does feel like he's in a different mindset. And I don't know if that's a game plan thing. I don't know if that's a teammates need to do better. I don't know if that's a you need better teammates around him. But I'm going to hold Devin Booker to a very high standard because I truly believe he could be a top 10, top 15 player in this league. And he hasn't played like one for now a couple of games, which is a problem.
Well, to whoever it was in the chat that had that point earlier, it's not like we haven't seen this before. We have seen this before with Book. And yeah, I need to see Grayson back with him. I think we undervalue how important Mark Williams is as well, because it keeps defensives honest with a guy down low like that not only can score and is a threat at that, but a threat to grab offensive rebounds. When you lose that, it's a lot easier to double and force more out onto the perimeter, which causes problems for any guard out there, but it caused problems for Booker tonight. He needs to be better. They need to get healthy. Teammates need to come to the ball more. All these things can be true all at once. And I think it's led to the perfect storm the last 3 games. In the other cases, you had enough out there on the court to overcome it. Tonight, you just didn't, and nobody really stepped up to fill that void. Dillon Brooks tried to, but he was hot and cold all night.
And we'll talk about Brooks here in a second, but look, if you just break it down, I get it. Houston's missing Kevin Durant, Dorian Finney-Smith, who's been non-existent this year, literally not on the court. Obviously missing Fred VanVleet. Tari Eason, who's been one of the best three-point shooters, especially as a wing in the NBA so far this season. So Houston was not at full strength. So I'm not even trying to use the injuries thing as an excuse as why the Suns lost, but more of let's paint a picture as to why Devin Booker specifically might be struggling here.
Yeah, well, and I mean, again, not an excuse, but a fact. You were playing on the tail end of a back-to-back, and Houston had not played since Friday. So that also is a factor in terms of maybe not how Book played specifically, but maybe in how fast teammates were reacting and getting and flashing open for him to pass, these kind of things. A lot of factors into why this was a difficult game tonight. But the reality also is you stayed in the mix for most of the game. You never really had that run that pushed you over the top. But until the very end, it wasn't a blowout, and it wasn't as if you were not within shouting distance in this game. So there are some small encouraging things as well.
There certainly is. I mean, if you just look at the scores from each quarter, the Suns were outscored by 7 in the first quarter. Okay, it's not terrible. Outscored by 2 in the second quarter, 29-27. It was tied 25-25 in the third. It was the fourth quarter where things got out of hand. That's a 13-point lead for Houston, 30-point fourth quarter, 17 for the Suns. That's a very clear picture of running out of gas.
Well, and that's the quarter that Houston has dominated all year long, too. They're a very good fourth quarter team. By the way, to the Houston fans in the chat, I love that you're celebrating despite the fact that all you did all summer was tell us that we were crap. And then you come in here and you kind of, you beat the Suns that are depleted, but don't really manhandle the Suns for most of the game. Enjoy your win. It's a very weird flex that you got going on.
And again, it's very funny because Rockets fans want to be like, well, we were missing our guys. We still beat your ass. And then they won't acknowledge the Suns were missing. Both teams were missing guys. Neither of the team is fully healthy. And if you want to talk about the Suns being trash, the Suns were missing, they're missing their second best player in Jalen Green. That means they're also their second best creator and second best ball handler, their second best off the dribble shooter, right? And their best athlete. They were missing their best shooter, the best shooter right now in the NBA on pull-up threes and catch-and-shoot threes, and Grayson Allen, who has been an absolute revelation this year. Okay, you're missing that guy. Who else are you missing? Ryan Dunn, probably your best perimeter defender and one of your best athletes as well. Who else are you missing? Mark Williams, your best vertical spacer, clearly your best option at center, and the only guy that could have at least given Şengün a couple of problems so far tonight and helped you rebounding. You're missing 3 to 4 starters depending on who your starting lineup is. And again, the Rockets are missing starters too. Both of those things are true. This game was close until the Suns ran out of gas. Houston hadn't played since Friday. Houston has also played 3 less games than the Suns to this point at the season. So look, all of this being said, to me, this is a disappointing end because I don't like it when the Suns lose, but they did show fight. I didn't feel like they were out of it until the end. And you tip your cap to a Houston team that nobody in this room was saying would be worse than the Phoenix Suns going into this year. No. Nobody said the Suns would even be close to the Rockets. And the reality is, these teams are not as far apart as Houston fans think and as this score tells.
I mean, in the end, it may be when these teams are at full strength that you may wind up having that. I just pick your victory lap. You got the win. Congratulations. But it's November, and it's not that big of a gap like you're saying, Eric. So yeah, it just made me laugh. Like you can there's a few, and this is not, I'm not painting with a broad brush. There are some KD fans and Houston fans that are in here that aren't acting as if they just won a championship, but you can do your little dance right now and have fun with it.
Yeah. Also saying Rockets have had no back-to-backs this season. Well, I think we've had 3. So not just 2. We had a back-to-back at the beginning of the season, then we had a back-to-back last week, and now we have a back-to-back this week as well.
2.
And we have another back-to-back on Friday, Saturday. I mean, the schedule's been brutal for the Suns. I mean, they're 5 games in 7 nights this week, which is just a lot. But look, at the end of the day, Rockets fans are going to talk their crap. I get it. It was a great win for the Rockets. Aaron Holiday had maybe the best game of his career, 22 points in 27 minutes. You didn't have another amazing game until Amen Thompson got a concussion and then learned how to shoot. He had 28 points tonight, was also 7 of 7 from the free throw line. That's not correct. He literally missed a free throw. ESPN's wrong. He missed a free throw from the. Yeah, I don't know what they're on there.
He missed the one or two to make one. 2 to make 1. So he made the second one, so it counts.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because so on a flagrant, when it's an and one, you get a 2 to make 1.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And the ball. So he missed it, but it doesn't count because he has a second opportunity.
Okay. Look, we're going to keep talking about this game. Obviously, we're going to talk about Dillon Brooks. We're going to look at the numbers. Rockets fans, get it. Talk your crap. As long as you hang out, that's fine.
Hey, your view counts as much as anybody's.
Keep it respectful. And why not hit that like button? Hit that subscribe button. We've talked about Book. Obviously, there's some other bad stuff we need to talk about this game. We got to talk about the center rotation outside of Mark Williams, the turnovers, the assists, the numbers. But there's also some good. Our star, our dude, and, of course, our blue-collar boy of the night. We're going to get into all of that. Plus, of course, we'll hear from Steven as well. And we'll do it on the other side of our first break. Win or loss, rain or shine, Pure Edibles is here for you. Unfortunately, all you Rockets fans that live in Houston, you don't get Pure Edibles because they're here in Arizona and they're Arizona made, but boy, could you use it. They're not covered in sugar like all their other competitors, but they do taste so good because they are a full-fledged candy company. Gummies, Kicks, which is their version of Starburst, Chews, and hard candies as well. And it's not just the taste, it's the effects. Clearly labeled on every single tin in a bunch of variety, unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD, and of course, marijuana-derived THC blended together to give you relaxed feelings, uplifted feelings, sleepy feelings, balanced feelings, and you'll know exactly how you're going to feel because it's not just indica sativa hybrid listed on the tin, it's what it's going to do to you, which when you are new to edibles is a very big deal. Plus, they're easy to...
perfect if you're kind of curious.
Yeah, if you're kind of curious, they're easy to bite or rip in half. You can share or dialing your exact dose. So go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
APS, weather's been weird. I mean, we've been talking about that here. Weather's been super weird, been really cold, gonna go into the mid 70s here in a few days, gonna drop back down. How do you have a thermostat that keeps your house in the temperature range that you need?
Oh, I know.
But also to save you some money while doing it. You can do it with a smart thermostat, and right now, when you get one, you can cut costs year after year thanks to using them, and APS customers can get a new smart thermostat from as low as $0 or $0, not even down, just $0 at aps.com/sale. To me, that's known as free. So shipping and taxes not included. Other restrictions apply. Highly recommend it. I got one, and it has made setting my temperature and saving money on my electric bill so much easier. So head over to aps.com/sale to get your smart thermostat today.
Look, we got a lot of fun stuff going on this week. Obviously, a lot of Suns games. It's also hate week in college football, and you can catch me, Totri, and the Deli Man who's behind the Mac right now for our live Sun Devils post-game show out at Loco Patron on Mill Avenue Friday night, November 28th, following the Territorial Cup. Me and the PHNX Sun Devils boys will be out there celebrating a win for ASU at Loco Patron about 30 minutes after that final whistle. So come by, hang out with us, and of course, it's presented by the Captain Morgan, and yes, there will be some Captain Morgan that's flowing there as well. So come hang out with us. Go phnx.com/events for more details.
And that's not all. This weekend, the diehard early access, it's not this weekend, it's actually starting today for a Black Friday sale. You can save up to 90% off on our hats, our apparel, our shirts, everything, even the sticker packs. You can get for up to 90% off. If you are a diehard member, that starts today. If you're not, that starts on Friday. So why wait? Why not become a diehard member today and start getting your Black Friday on, up to 90% off our merch?
Look, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're talking about what the Suns want KD back in the chat. Let's calm down, folks.
Everybody relax.
Let's calm down.
ASU basketball's up 39-34 at halftime.
Huge.
Why are we crashing out after?
I don't know. I mean,
this?
look, I think it's just, I think it's not necessarily people are crashing out, but more the fact that Rockets fans are now in here poking and prodding. And look, man, like this team, Espo, this team's 11-7.
Yep.
This team is 11-7.
I would have done unspeakable things in the summer if you had guaranteed me that they'd be 11-7 to start.
Yeah, 11-7 off the start. When again, that is over a third of the way to their win total that the lines have been set in the sports book, and it's not even December yet. We have like a week until December hits. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, does this loss suck? Did the Suns end up losing 114-92? Yep. Were they shorthanded? Yep. On the second night of a back-to-back? Yep. For any other team, you look at that and you say that's a schedule loss. I think a lot of people, especially opposing fans, will come in here and will say that's an excuse, that's an excuse. I think it's just more of an explanation. Well, the NBA schedule is brutal. This is as definition of a schedule loss as possible. That being said, there were a lot of things the Suns shot themselves in the foot with and needed to clean up, and that if they did, they would have been able to compete and possibly win tonight.
Yeah, I think if this was any other good team and it wasn't the one that you happen to make a large trade with this offseason, this probably is a different tenor to it tonight, at least for a lot of people. Obviously, people are trying to make this a referendum on the trade or on any individual player that was involved in it, and I just think that is an exercise in futility. Suns had things against them, but really they did themselves in. If they had protected the ball a little bit better tonight and they connected on some of their open looks, we're probably having a very, very different conversation right now.
I think it's a beautiful transition into By the Numbers, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Of course, the only number that matters, this time in a negative way. The final score, 114-92. Ime Udoka's Houston Rockets get it over Jordan Ott's Phoenix Suns. But Espo, there's a whole lot more that tells the story than just that final score.
Yeah, shooting, obviously. You give up 8 more shots to the Rockets, and then you only make 41% of yours, going 33 of 80 to the Rockets, 43 of 88. Well, that's a recipe for disaster. And then you managed to actually get more three-pointers off than Houston, but you only make the same amount. You're 13 of 37, which was still 42%. Not bad, but Houston was 13 of 31 for 45%. Free throw discrepancy, guess what? You actually won the free throw battle tonight. You just didn't hit your free throws. You're 13 of 16. Houston was 15 of 17. Rebounding much closer than I thought it was going to be tonight. Houston won 41-39 on the boards, and I actually think the Suns wound up winning. They did. They wound up winning the offensive boards 13-12, which was Houston came in as the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. So you win that, but you look at this, 11 assists
That's
tonight.
not Suns basketball.
11 assists tonight on your 33 makes. Only a third of your buckets come from that. That plus the turnovers equals a loss. And that's going to happen every single time when you lose the turnover battle and you're only getting 11 assists. That's just not going to work. As Austin in the chat says, 11 assists is unacceptable, and that's just the truth.
It is the truth, and that's not been this team's identity. They've actually been one of the better ball movement teams in the NBA, and the turnovers, we've seen it fluctuate up and down, up and down. This time, you didn't find a way to get the win like you did against Minnesota. Another number that I think really paints a picture here, because I think this also plays into how these turnovers happened, fast break points tonight. The Suns had 4. The Houston Rockets had 18.
It was a lot of live ball turnovers.
A lot of live ball turnovers, a lot of being out athleticismed by Amen Thompson, by Reed Shepherd, by Okogie on the fast break, and then finishing. I mean, 18-4 is a 14-point difference, and you lost this game by 18 points.
Well, and you give up 26 points.
18 points, sorry. 22 points.
22. But it wasn't that. It really wasn't
math.
that long of large of a deficit for most of the game. But you look at it as well. You give up 26 points off your turnovers, and you dug yourself too much of a hole.
Yeah,
just a hole that you're not coming back from in that, and that was the case. And you run out of gas because you dig yourself an early hole, which means you have to fight back that much harder, and you're on the tail end of back-to-back. You just did everything you couldn't do tonight.
Yeah, B says we're acting as if Houston Rockets didn't have anything to do with those turnovers. I think it's true, but also a lot of these turnovers, there were mistakes. There was a lot of poorly timed passes and passes like directly to the other team. And yes, a lot of it was Houston forced turnovers for sure, but it got to a point where it didn't feel like it was just the Rockets forcing it. It felt like the Suns were also kind of sloppy like they were against Minnesota. You don't get to that many turnovers if both of those things aren't happening at the same time.
Well, I mean, yes, you got to give credit to Houston's defense. They were doing a lot of things that the Suns have been known for this season, getting in the passing lanes, creating some chaos. But to your point, the Suns made a lot of bad passes too. You combine those two things, and it's just a lethal cocktail. You can't go from 6 turnovers last night to 20 tonight and hope that all of a sudden you're going to be able to make it work magically. 21 tonight. It's just not going to work that way. And this team, we talk about it, and we talk about it on the regular. Their margin for error is extremely thin. When you are missing a lot of your players, that margin becomes even thinner. So dumb mistakes will do you in really quickly.
The Kings beat the Wolves.
All right, good.
Wow.
Get that win out of your
Another
system.
Anthony Edwards 40 bomb and a loss.
Dang.
Good.
He's going to request a trade to here soon.
Geez,
Just a couple other numbers.
And a Julius Randle double-double.
Of course.
Cara also bring up a good point. The size of the Rockets plays a big part.
Rockets are a big team. That plays into the fact points in the paint. The Suns were outscored by 24. It was a 54-30 difference in points in the paint. Also, at the end of the day, the Suns shot 20% worse at the free throw line as well. You got to hit your free throws. Nick Richards missed a couple. Devin Booker missed a couple. I believe Dillon Brooks missed 1 or 2 as well. You lost a lot on the margins. You can see the 26 points off of turnovers. This was a game that shouldn't have been as close as it was, and that has been a theme for the Suns in games that they've pulled out. That Portland game in the first half didn't feel like they should have a lead. I believe it was the game before that they shouldn't have been close either. Maybe it was after. Maybe it was the Minnesota game. It just feels like so often it's like, how are they in this game? And they just weren't able to hit the switch. And now when you talk about what there was when it came to playing this game that they weren't able to hit the switch, I think part of that comes down to center play as well of all the numbers we talked about. So we're going to get into the center play. Plus, we are going to start talking positive. We're going to talk about our dude of the night and our blue collar boy of the night.
We're going to talk all about that.
We're going to talk and Ferk de Roofs and our play of the night and everything of the sort. And we're going to do it on the other side of our second break. Sometimes you just need to get away, either with family or for some people away from family. And some people
I think my family wants to get away from me.
Either way, you go to Gila River Resorts and Casinos at all 4 of the locations: Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, Vicuiva, Santan Mountain, to experience the best that the Valley has to offer. Obviously, you can go for a staycation, you can go for a night out on the town, check out the state-of-the-art gaming floor, or go check it out on a nice NFL Sunday, college football Saturday, or these big NBA Cup days where there's a bunch of games. go to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Check out their sportsbook. Check out their dining options with a bunch of tables and seats and TVs to watch the games. They just have about everything. I also love the live shows. I've been able to catch a live podcast out there, the Straight Game podcast, when Shaq was there telling stories about getting into fights with Pat Riley at practice. You can get just a little bit of everything at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And just remember, you do you. Even if you're a Rockets troll, you do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details.
Hey, you do you. When you're a Rockets fan, you got to say it like that. Bet365 has over 90 million users worldwide. How could those 90 million be wrong? They can't.
They can't.
Because it's never ordinary with Bet365. And you know what? They pioneered live in-game betting. And there is nothing quite like live in-game betting, because when you realize the bet that you made at the beginning of the pregame show isn't actually going to work, you can go and you can live bet on something else and make yourself feel a little bit better. Plus, when it comes to same game parlays on Sundays, they've got great parlays for you. Bets totaling 20 or more on Sunday NFL games. You can get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. You can download the app and use that promo code PHNX365 when you sign up. And breaking news right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up using the code PHNX365, deposit 10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Whether you win or lose, bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 and over. Physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Big shout out to Mark in the chat, who says, finally caught a live stream after so long. Nice to be back with the chat. Mark, it's nice to have you
Welcome
home
here
as well. He also follows up with hit that like button, lose, draw, smash that like button. Suns up every day. Espo, let's round out some of the negatives here before we get into some positive talk with our dude, blue collar boy, and love to play of the night. Mark Williams doesn't play tonight, as he usually hasn't on the second night of a back-to-back. We heard from Jordan Ott pregame. This is just still a part of the plan, seeing how he reacts and how he responds. The Suns had a glaring issue at center tonight. Now, Alperen Şengün definitely had his moments, but it didn't really feel like as much as it was just him, who had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists tonight. It just felt like overall the Suns were missing a steady presence in the paint on both sides of the ball. Do the Suns have a backup center problem?
Yes, 100%. They have a backup center problem. Because let's be honest, Oso Ighodaro isn't a backup center. He's a playmaking big, a guy that has some impressive intangibles that can help you in the right situation, but he is not a true backup center. Nick Richards is a frustrating backup center. And in most rotations is probably that third guy. And as we saw, Kaman Malawach is not ready physically to go out there and be a contributor for this team in any important minutes. So at some point, you got to look at that and you got to go, how do we get a guy that can actually do that and let Oso move into that power forward role or that specialty role for a big man and bring in a center that can actually help you, especially if you are planning on continuing what you're doing with Mark Williams, which I think seems like they will for the foreseeable future.
I think they have to.
I mean, if that's the path you think to keep him healthy, then yeah, you have to. So what's your answer? You got to start looking, and I think you start looking in Orlando at that center rotation.
Goga Bitadze, Wendell Carter Jr. Look, you want to know how many points the Suns got from their centers tonight?
Not enough.
6.
Yeah.
6 points. 2 from Oso Ighodaro, 1 of 5 from the field, 0 of 1 for 3, which is funny. Nick Richards, 4 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 0 of 2 from the line. Nick Richards did grab 11 rebounds tonight, maybe the quietest 11 rebounds I've ever seen in my entire life. I think both of those guys in moments and in spurts can be productive NBA players. We've seen Oso these last couple of games really shine in certain moments. We've seen Nick Richards hit a couple moments where his pure physicality and athleticism is exactly what the Suns need off the bench. But with Oso, the lack of offensive production from him against any sort of size as a center is a problem. Nick Richards makes some of the dumbest mistakes I've ever seen in my entire life. 3 turnovers tonight. It felt like 15. It was like the opposite of his rebounds, where it felt like he had 3, but he really grabbed 11. He makes boneheaded play after boneheaded play. He sets illegal screens. Nobody loves doing that more than Nick Richards. Nobody loves throwing the ball either straight out of bounds to nobody or directly to the other team than Nick Richards. He's got butter hands as well. It's just not a sustainable formula for you. If you had Mark Williams every night and you could play him over 30 minutes per game, I think this is a sustainable center rotation.
Yes.
But you can't play him over 30 minutes per game, which, by the way, that's the first step of the plan. Mark Williams will not play back-to-backs until the Suns feel comfortable by playing him over 30 minutes in a game.
I don't think we will see him play significantly over 30 minutes at any point.
And I don't think we're going to see him play back-to-backs.
I don't think so. I think that we're seeing what the plan is. And to be fair, it's kept him healthy so far, but you need to have a realistic second option. And I think they had some visions of what guys could be, and they're not living up to it. Nick Richards isn't that guy.
No.
Nick Richards is, I can give you 8 minutes, and some nights it'll be good. Some nights you're just going to have to try to live through said minutes. Oso Ighodaro is a specialty player. He is not a guy that's going to play as a serious center against anybody of significant size. That doesn't mean he doesn't have value on this roster.
Sure.
It doesn't mean he can't do things that will help your team, but he can't be expected to be a main piece of your center rotation in a traditional sense. You have to figure out what the answer is. And I think you had hoped that maybe it could be Kaman sooner rather than later. Not the case right now. And since you're playing better than you thought, and if you have hopes of sustaining that, you're going to have to find some answers. The problem is you're facing another back-to-back Friday, Saturday this week.
Yep.
And I believe you will then play a large portion of your back-to-backs, at least a significant part of it.
Maybe your
by
fourth
that
of the
point.
year?
Yeah. So
it's 8 games out of like 15?
Yeah. So like at that point,
15,
at that point, you're going to need to look at it and go, okay, are we going to have enough situations where spending assets to get that center, how much do we want to go in on it?
No, 100%, man. Like, it's unfortunate because I do think that there is a good place for Oso in Jordan Ott's system. And there have been some moments where Nick Richards has been the backup center that the Suns have needed. But people are saying, oh, we'll just play Kaman. Like, clearly, they're not going to play Kaman. Now, personally, I want to see Kaman Malawach play basketball, which means I'd like to see him in the G League just because he is so raw. I want to see him be able to develop and get game reps.
I think that's a fair request.
And that's fine. It's like I would ask for him in these games just to see, because I also think it's unfair to throw him in for 3 minutes cold off the bench at the very end of the game and say that's going to be the guy that he is. But I want to see him play basketball. If he's a raw prospect, he needs to play basketball. And if you're better than you are this year, which is a fact, you don't have as much margin for error when it comes to playing the young guys. I know the first 5 games, that was a huge conversation on this show, on Sun socials, everywhere. Play Rasheer Fleming. Play Kaman Malawach. Because if you're going to be 1-4, extrapolated over a whole season, play the young guys. Well, guess what? You're not, right? You're multiple games over 500. You're in the playoff play-in hunt, clearly. You're one of the best scrappy up-and-coming teams in the NBA. Maybe you don't have room for guys like Kaman and Rasheer in a fully healthy rotation. I still need to see them play basketball, right? If they're going to be raw prospects who aren't ready now, they're not going to get ready just sitting on the bench.
Honestly, I don't care if we see them play basketball. If they feel comfortable with what they're doing behind the scenes and they feel like the run that they're getting in 5-on-5s and those kind of things is helping them and showing the staff enough, fine. I personally don't need to see them on the court because it doesn't matter what the hell I see. It's going to depend on what are the player development coaches, what do Brian Gregory and his staff see. But right now, I do not feel comfortable putting them out there. So do you have an answer? Are you willing to make a move? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself over the next month. And we're going to learn a lot.
We are.
By the time we get to the end of December, we're going to know if this team is playing for something or if this team is going to regress back to the mean. And then maybe, you know what, maybe turn of the calendar into 2026. It is time to play some of those guys.
Yeah. Look, let's shift the conversation. We'll have plenty of time on tomorrow's 3 p.m. show, which, by the way, is a very big show. We have a really, really big announcement that you'll be hearing tomorrow morning, and tomorrow's show is an absolute must-watch at 3 p.m. Arizona time. So we'll get into some more Suns stuff and a bigger picture there. Let's talk about tonight, though.
Real quick. Boom Shakalaka, a.k.a. Beer is Good, finally said something that I can totally agree with. Jock Landale. I like that name.
Jock Landale will be
Jock Landale
second
back.
best center on this roster right now. That's
Baby,
for sure.
come back.
For sure, he would for sure be better than Oso and Nick Richards right now. I think Oso would have flashes that's better than Jock, but as far as just being a consistent center, Jock would be the second best player.
Oso will remain in a rotation no matter what kind of move you make.
Nick
He does different things, and that's important.
It is not a guest wow factor. I'll just leave it at that. All right, let's go ahead and get into our dude of the night, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for full details. It's got to be Dillon Brooks has scored 20-plus points in 5 out of his last 6 games. It was no different tonight. In 32 minutes, he had 29 points, shot 50% from the field, 11 of 22, 2 of 8 from deep. Pretty much all of those misses came in like the first 5 minutes of the game. 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 personal fouls. It was the whole Dillon Brooks experience against his former team. He also gets our Love the Play of the Night, presented by Arizona Lottery. If you're over the age of 21, play and gift today for that streak that he went on, Espo, when he's checked in for his second stint and just went full takeover mode. Post fadeaways, deep threes, layups with jelly off of the glass. Dillon Brooks has been one of the best scoring options on this team every single night that he's played. And for the last couple of games, he's been the best scoring option on this team.
Yeah, I believe that's when they cut it to 4. I think it was the closest that they got in this game. And it's impressive they finished at 50% for the night because he started 1 of 6. And it was you could tell he was trying to force the issue a little too much early on, but then he got a little bit more comfortable, had those 5 fouls, but came back in, didn't foul out, wound up with those 29 points overall. And he did a lot of good things tonight, but I do think early on he was trying too hard to show up his old team, and Jordan Ott made the right call, called the time. I took him out for a little while. He came back in, refocused, and looked more like the guy that we had seen for a while this year.
Yeah, look, was he forcing? Sure. Have we come to live with the Dillon Brooks experience? Yes. I mean, the post fadeaways, the mid-range shots, the little takeovers that he has over and over again, those have been completely outweighing any negatives that come with Dillon Brooks. The delay of games, the flagrants, the technicals, whatever it is, it's not even close to outweighing the positives that Dillon Brooks has brought to this team. We did hear from Dillon Brooks tonight on his reaction to tonight's game against his former team.
The fight, we'll see him in December. We got some learning to do, and probably gotta hit more threes.
I mean, pretty basic and simple. Dillon Brooks also noted, this is according to Mr. Context himself, Stephen Prejean Garner, that Dillon Brooks talked about Houston being rewarded, quote, killed every run we had in tonight's game. He's talking about being rewarded for flopping. Didn't attribute it as one of the main reasons they lost tonight, but certainly as a contributing factor to why the Suns did take the L.
Okay. I appreciate everything that Dillon's doing, but I'm this can't turn into every time they lose, he goes off on the refs kind of thing. We know the refs in every sport suck. Like, that's just human nature. That's just the way it is. Firk the refs is a battle cry here. I get it. But that can't be the default every time you lose. It just cannot, because you didn't lose by 22 points to the Houston Rockets because there were some egregious foul calls. And guess what? You actually made it to the free throw line more times than Houston did. So.
Yeah, I actually felt like the officiating in this game, it wasn't perfect, but it was probably as even as we've seen it for a Suns game this year. Also, this is like the 4th time that Dillon Brooks has talked about the refs in postgame. He also flopped today, but I love our sweet angel, Dillon Brooks. I do appreciate everything he's done. He's a tone setter for this team. Dillon Brooks also talked about their defense versus Şengün and where they need to improve.
We got to work on that. We got to be all on the same page, give them practice and understand what we're doing with, great bigs like LP. We're going to be straight up or we're going to double. Which side are we doubling? And we got to be on a string.
He's just matter of fact. I mean, he's very locked in. It was a rough night in general, and they got to do better. And that's just what it comes down to. And they know it, and you can tell with that he understands. Just wasn't their night.
Look, we have some more sound from Coach I, and we'll have our blue collar boy of the night because it is still deserving. Stick around, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We will be commercial free on the other side of our final break. Cut me open, I bleed Phoenix Suns purple and orange, and then cut me open on the other arm, and I'm bleeding DFCU blue. Because Desert Financial Credit Union is, of course, the #1 credit union in Arizona, their largest, most trusted local credit union for more than 86 years in the community, offering financial solutions tailored to helping real people achieve their financial goals and dreams. You can get exclusive branded debit cards with teams like the Cardinals, ASU, NAU, but of course, it's also them being willing to offer you actual money. When you open up a free checking account online, you get $200 in bonuses. But before we get to exactly how you get that, just a reminder, yes, Desert Financial has the basics for you, the checkings and the savings accounts, but they also have financial experts here to help you with mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. They're committed to giving back to the community and giving back to you. When you open up a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
Eric, have you ever been in a serious accident?
I have.
Did you wind up having to get a lawyer?
I did not.
Okay, I did and made the wrong choice. And it's important that you do your research. And if you're looking for somewhere to start with that research, may I recommend Mark and Alexis Pryor at the Husband and Wife Law Team, because their team brings hundreds of years, not just one, multiple hundreds of years of combined trial experience, multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death. And that is a very exclusive club, because in Arizona, the state bar has certified less than 1% of all lawyers as specialists in injury and wrongful death litigation. So it matters who you get. And of course, nobody can guarantee the outcome of a legal case. However, there are promises that they are proud to make you and all their clients when it comes to your relationship as their client. You can cancel their fee agreement at any time for any reason. You'll receive at least as much in pocket as they receive for their fee. So if you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you.
Hit that like button. Marquise in the chat making a great point. Not enough likes to viewers in the chat. We have...
Hold on, we've got breaking news. Wee-oo. Eric sucks at driving, according to Megan, and the accident was his fault, so the lawyer was not necessary.
I had one bad day.
I've driven with Eric before.
I'm not a bad driver.
And you're still here to talk about it. All right. That's a win.
My car, it's holding up. But I had a bad day driving that one day. It was unfortunate.
Megan just throwing you under the bus.
Under the car.
Under the car. That's fair.
Froggy in the chat says, not all Katie stands are asses. I'm a fan. Came to the Suns for Katie. Stayed for PHNX Sports and the fun season the Suns are having. Rooting for the Suns unless they play the Rockets. Keep up the good work. Thank you,
Froggy.
That's awesome.
Look,
Megan, yeah, we got it. Okay, we got it. It was not a great day in the history of Eric Ruby. We'll say that.
You actually need to call the Husband and Wife Law Team for the brutal injury your wife just delivered you.
Hoops Guy says, Katie fan here, but I always watch the show. PHNX covers sports better than most teams in the league. Also says loves my diehard energy. Well, it's nice to have one positive thing in the chat while my wife continues to throw me in front of the car. Okay. Megan is my wife, Marquise. He says, who is Megan? Family or something? That is my wife, who is more than happy to tell people that I totaled her car in 2022. My bad.
Did she call a lawyer on you?
Okay, Steven's here. Let's check in with Steven. Hi, Steven.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
How are you doing? First of all,
You know what? We're gonna move on. The Suns lost a game, Steven. I didn't know they were allowed to do that.
I mean, yeah, that's what this particular pocket of the schedule is going to challenge them with. You put that in tandem with the injury adversity, second night of a home back to back. Houston having not played in like 3 days, even without KD, like that's a lot of adversity to have to go up against in any specific game, even if you are at home. Um, and I think we saw some issues in their process, which some of it is just execution. I think the other part of it, context wise, is you're missing a lot of offense. You're already missing Grayson Allen with Jalen Green. You throw Mark Williams on top of all of that at your weakest position, which is at the center spot. It's a lot to navigate against a team whose strength is the center position, and they have a bunch of big wings that do everything on both ends of the floor, even without Kevin Durant. So, yeah, that makes for some tough sledding. They got some things to clean up and to learn from in this game, but I think it's one that serves that particular purpose, which is why it's not a reason to overreact or fret too much about it.
What was the biggest, for lack of a better term, self-inflicted wound tonight? Because it felt like Houston gave some opportunities for the Suns to get back in this game, but they couldn't quite make it over that hump like they had in so many of the other comebacks.
Yeah, I think naturally you can look at the turnovers, 21 of those, and that accounted for 26 total points from Houston tonight. So that's strike number one. I think they also had almost 20 fast break points tonight as well, which again that's hard to navigate when you're in single digits on the fast break point side of things in particular. So yeah, it gets tough when you go up against a team that's so good on the margins in the ways that they are, that their margins and the impact where they're strong at sometimes can outweigh the things that you do to typically flip a game on its head or create advantage for you over the course of games. So it was tough, man. It was tough. So I think the turnovers are naturally the first one to look at. The other one though is looking at them in the half court with defending Şengün. Um, I don't want to overreact to it, but I can't help but see it as a trend through the first quarter of the season now, and that's them defending against elite level playmaking centers, and being able to kind of defend in rotation against those type of guys. Obviously, the one time they went against another playmaking big like that was Jokic, and that was a road back-to-back situation where they were obviously without Mark Williams as well. So you don't want to put too much stock into those types of scenarios, but you got to kind of assess them for what they are at this moment, and that's something that they certainly need to clean up. A lot of miscues defending their rotation, people not being on the same page at times, a little half step or two behind, conceding opportunities for Houston to execute off of tonight.
Steven, we haven't had a chance to hear what Coach Ott had to say after tonight's game. What was your big takeaway from his post-game media availability?
Yeah, accountability. They have to be better. I think he started there. 33 field goals, only 11 assists tonight. And by the time garbage time came around, it was 11 assists on just 31 field goals made. So that's never going to be a recipe for success for this team. He started with that, and then I ended up asking him about just the lack of paint touches it felt like we saw, because there was a lot of self-creation. And it's one thing if you're self-creating, but you're getting to the paint and getting to the free throw line, drawing fouls, and kind of getting good shots because of that. It's another thing if it's actions run, they do a good job defending that first action and the second action. Now it's just one-on-one, and everybody's putting up one-on-one contested shots. Like, that's not the Suns' offensive identity in any capacity. And I think the lack of assists on field goals made today was kind of a direct example of that. And he said, yeah, that's never going to be something that gets it done for them. He said they have to be better in that area as well.
When you look at what we've seen from Devin Booker over the last 3 games, including tonight, if Grayson Allen's out again, do you think it might be time to consider starting Colin Gillespie alongside Devin Booker to try to take off some of that pressure in terms of initiating offense? Because what was working so well with Grayson was he had the ability to take some of that pressure off as well as make shots. And it feels like, at least over the last 3 games, that Booker's found himself in more of that having to initiate the offense, which has not exactly worked to the best of everybody's abilities.
Yeah. I would say I feel like Collins should stay where he is because he's in such a great groove with how he's operating. You don't want to move him from that and potentially risk breaking up even just a little bit of his rhythm because scoring is hard to come by on an individual standpoint for them as is. You take him out of his rhythm just a little bit, what does that do in terms of domino effect? I would rather them keep him in his role and kind of where he's at within the rotation. You just stagger him and Devin with each other over the course of the game a little bit more, which I feel like Jordan's tried to do when he could kind of find the ways to do so. But yeah, Devin, I mean, simply put, he's got to be better. It feels like today's game wasn't as bad as yesterday's game, but still definitely has to be better. Um, Teams are doing a lot of things to him in the half court as far as being physical with him early, trying to make his touches hard, trying to win the first dribble and making him have to go to counters early instead of him being able to dictate the terms and get into his counters later. It's a lot going on with that, but I think simply him kind of just finding a way to get his groove offensively a little earlier in games, I feel like will help them a lot. Kind of organization-wise, like you talked about last season, Espo, with him kind of being the starter at times and then Durant in that situation was the closer. I think Devin kind of getting into that starter role while also still being able to be the finisher for this team late in games. Feels like that starter part might need to be a little more emphasized just without them operating without both Grayson and Jalen Green at this moment.
Last one from me, Steven, on a 114-92 loss for the Phoenix Suns. Here on a Monday night, obviously Mark Williams, the plan is for him not to play back-to-backs. But you mentioned earlier he didn't play against Jokic on the second night of a back-to-back. Now he's not playing against Alperen Şengün and the supersized Rockets on the second night of a back-to-back. Do you think the Suns maybe need to look ahead and rest him on the first night of back-to-backs if that opponent has either a weaker center or is technically weaker when it comes to overall roster?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question. It's a fair thought exercise to kind of play with. I still fall on you have to handle your business accordingly. It's already hard enough to win games in the NBA as is. It's also hard enough to do so in the Western Conference in particular. And nothing's guaranteed on the back end of it. You might be more healthy, but like nothing's guaranteed when you're going up against Jokic and he's resting, waiting for you at your crib when you'll be coming back home on Saturday. So you got to handle your business in accordance. And luckily for you, and I just got done talking with Dwayne Rankin about this before I came over here to hop on the pod. They've done themselves some goodwill. They've created a little bit of cushion for themselves, not in the you can take your foot off the gas fashion, but if you have a slip up or because of the minutes distribution and the plan with Mark Williams, you miss him for a game or two, you've made up some room for yourself by winning some of the games you did prior to tonight's game. So if you happen to go into the game on Friday and you go and win that one with Mark and then you lose it partly because he's not around for that game on Saturday, so be it. And you just kind of try to stay along that beaten path that you've established that's guiding you ahead of the or above the cut in terms of being in the playing race. So if you can maintain that in some capacity, even if it is one win here, one loss there, and you're kind of alternating. I think Espo said it best. If you come out of this hellacious stretch before Christmas at 500 in this stretch of games, you're still, 5-6 games above 500 in your record on the season? That's a good spot to be in.
Steven, thanks for so much for spending some time with us. Looking forward to having you in studio tomorrow for what we've already said is going to be a very exciting, big edition of PHNX Suns. Some big stuff going on tomorrow. Of course, we got to have Steven in studio for that, so we'll get some more thoughts on this game and looking ahead on the Suns. Always, you can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with a PH on Twitter. He's doing all sorts of great game breakdowns, but also bringing you up-to-date news from practice, shoot around, at the games, injury reports, all of that. An absolute must follow for Suns fans. Thanks, Steven.
Appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
Top of the top, Steven.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's round things out here by giving our blue collar boy of the night. Talked about him a little bit with Steven. It is going to go to Colin Gillespie, another great game for Colin. 29 minutes for him tonight. 16 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, some really tough shot making. It wasn't enough for the Suns, Espo, but he has become one of the more reliable pieces on this team.
He's dependable. He is the processor, and he is going to not only score for you, but distribute the ball, play some smart defense. He is the stability on the bench for this team. And I think Steven is right in his thought that you don't want to mess up that rhythm for him and what he's got going on. He will be, if he continues it, in the discussion for both most improved and for sixth man. And he is something that you can pencil it in almost every night. You know what you're going to get from him.
Let's go ahead and get to some super chats here as we round out on a Monday night. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will have to have a fill-in voice for Be Calm, See Clearly. Luckily, we have the deli man here, but let's start off with Trevor. 199 super chat says, what's up with Book against good teams? Been off. I feel like we've covered that a decent amount so far, Trevor, but it is certainly a problem so far.
$2 Be Calm, See Clearly. Normal chat. Now I'm concerned with Book's three-point shot.
He had an okay
Now I'm concerned about Be Calm, See Clearly if we're getting normal chats.
Be Calm, See Clearly. It's really bad when they start chatting about normal basketball related.
Yeah, I see a snatch down there, so I think we're good. $2 from Be Calm, See Clearly. Not at the beginning of the season before. Talking about Book's three-point shot.
Yeah, it's weird. It is definitely weird. My wife with a
my wife.
It's a nice $4.99 super chat. Hey there, Rocket Trolls. On behalf of PHNX Suns diehards, hate and love pay the same. Thanks for stopping by.
Does that come out of your paycheck?
Right. It does. Well, we have a shared bank account, so we're both paying for that.
$2 Be Calm, See Clearly. Won the Natty, no controversies needed. Ohio. Oh, it's a Ohio
State fan.
Gotcha. I see. I was like, huh? Another $2. The next 5 games got to snatch it up overtime.
Big time.
Clap, clap.
Chris with a $5 super chat says, in all caps, Devin Booker's the only Hall of Famer who played in this game. As of right now, yes.
Aaron Holiday's on his way there.
Aaron Holiday had himself a Hall of Fame game tonight. Young Mark 610 $4.99 super chat says, y'all, my brothers, love the show. Thank you, Mark. Says, but let's be honest, we all need to get on telephones to join forces with Katie again. It's the truth.
I'm good.
No.
Thanks.
Obviously, you put Katie on this roster with this roster construction and this coach, be scary hours. But we don't need to call to get Katie back. You're not going to get Katie back. This team is better to move on and move forward. So is Katie. It is what it is.
I'm going to say it. I'm not sure.
Katie at the 4. Mark Williams, Katie, Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, Devin Booker.
It's the same thing where the gravity of the planet causes distress in the entire solar system. It just wouldn't work.
Sure, I hear you. It'd be a good team.
$5 Be Calm, See Clearly. No honor in their victory. They played a foul hand. That Wolverine banner belongs in the trash can. OHIO. Go Bucks. Cook a Wolverine like turkey.
Be Calm is down bad tonight. All right. Riddle with the $4.99 super chat says, is Booker dating Kendall again? Because it seems like
hold up. Let me see. Let me call him real quick.
I thought you were going to call Kendall.
I'm calling Book.
I'd be even more impressed.
I don't have Book's number.
Hey, chat, leave a like.
Yeah, leave a like.
I do. He just wouldn't answer the phone ever, so...
Any final thoughts, Espo?
Look, if you're crashing out, go get a good night's sleep, touch some grass, come back on Wednesday. We'll come back tomorrow for the show, and then on Wednesday, it's a game against the Kings. We should be all right.
Deli Man, any thoughts? No, just a ding from the Deli Man. Well, we'll have lots of thoughts tomorrow in a very, very, very exciting show for PHNX Suns. Keep your eyes out on socials at PHNX_Suns tomorrow morning to get an idea of what's going on and set your reminders. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn your notifications on. 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, we're just re-releasing the Mercury logos. That's what we're doing tomorrow.
It's going to be a really, really fun show. Austin says, tell us what's happening. No, I'm not going to. You are going to have to be there tomorrow. As always, as tradition here at Be Calm, See Clearly super chat on the way out.
A Wolverine is chicken dinner. Salute.
On that note, you can follow the show at PHNX_Suns for some news on tomorrow, and of course, the latest breaking Phoenix Suns news, memes during the game, everything in between, all at PHNX_Suns. You can follow Dillon at Shane Deef. You can follow me at ERIK.
It's me, El Kern.
RUBY. That's a funny comment. I'm sorry. You can follow Espo at Espo and catch him on Southwest Bias tomorrow morning as well.
That is 11 and a half hours away.
You know what?
Oops.
We should tell the diehards a little early. So keep your eyes to the diehard Discord.
We will tell you at 2:59. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, we'll drop it in the Discord.
Thank you all for being here. And just remember, the Suns are 11-7 and have won 10 out of their last 13 games.
Yeah, but they lost to Houston. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.